Call to order this meeting of the Southwest Consolidated Zoning Board on April 26, 2023, 6:30 p.m. My name is Jason Cooper. I am the chairman. And first order of business is a roll call.
John DeGrand.
Present.
Terry Atwell is absent. Donna Getzman is absent. David Wolf is absent. Randy Hutchins is absent. Jason Cooper.
Here.
Rebecca Barton.
Here.
On Zoom, Brian Walker.
Brian, you're muted.
Brian Walker on Zoom.
Brian, this is Becky. You're muted. We can't hear you.
There it is. I couldn't find the unmute button. Here.
Thank you. And Darren Schaefer on Zoom.
I'm here.
Okay, we do have a quorum.
All right. We now need to have the statement for hybrid and in-person and virtual meetings.
This meeting is now being recorded. Please silence all electronic devices. This meeting is being held in the board hearing room with the zoning board members attending in person. There is also an option for virtual attendance on Zoom webinar. If you are using Zoom, you may participate in the meeting using your computer, telephone, or other electronic device. For Zoom participants, chat will be disabled once the meeting begins. If you have trouble, please call 913-715-9666. If you would like to speak, please use the raise hand function in the Zoom app to notify planning staff of your desire to speak. To activate this function, click raise hand in the webinar controls at the bottom of the screen. By telephone, you may raise your hand by dialing *9. Please do not utilize the raise hand function until the start of the agenda item about which you desire to comment. We will take comments from in-person attendees first, followed by Zoom participants. The Zoom moderator will call on individuals who have raised their hand. The chairman may modify these procedures as needed to conduct an orderly and efficient meeting. All public speakers will be limited to 3 minutes unless the chair designates a different time period in order to accommodate all the speakers. When your name is called by the moderator, your microphone will be unmuted. Please state your name and address for the record, followed by your comments. If you share concerns, comments, or points made by others, please refrain from repeating those comments and instead note for the record that you agree with the previous individual's comments. There will be a 10 seconds remaining warning sound. For board members and presenters, please state your name every time you begin talking so that the comments can be transcribed for the record. This is a public meeting. We are presenting live and recording the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, agenda items. Do we have any add, deletes, revisions? And no, we need to add, or need to approve any agenda items? No. Disclosure conflicts of interest. All right. Disclosure of external contacts and or discussions. Next item is approval of the minutes from March 22nd, 2023. I assume everybody's read the minutes, and if everybody agrees with them, then accept a motion to approve them.
John DeGrand, I move to approve the minutes from the March 22nd meeting.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second.
Rebecca Barton, I'll be the second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, passes. Motion approval of minutes passes. Okay, next item is the board reports. Board of County Commissioners actions. Do you have something for us, Mr. Penley?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sean Penley, planning staff. There were two applications at the last zoning board meeting on March 22nd, if you recall. We had a preliminary and final plat for 175th and Edgerton. That was for 4 residential lots. That was recommended for approval by this board. And then there was also a preliminary development plan and final development plan for the New Century Commerce Center signed development plan. Those 2 cases were approved by the Board of County Commissioners on April 20th. Those are the actions for the board.
All right.
To answer any questions on those.
Do you guys have any questions?
And then I could continue with the planning commission.
Yes,
update.
please.
So we had a planning commission meeting that was scheduled for last night in this room, but we need to reschedule, or we will be rescheduling that meeting to May 23rd because we had a lack of quorum. We had 1 member short on the quorum, so we will need to reschedule that. The item that was scheduled for the meeting last night was a public hearing for the Sunflower Area Plan update. So that is a public hearing. So we continued it to the next regularly scheduled meeting for the Planning Commission on May 23rd. We also updated our website and to notify people about that who are planning on that hearing. And there were also people in attendance that got to hear that continuation or the update. So plan on rescheduling for May 23rd. That will really be the only other item to note. We may have another update that we'll be providing at that meeting, but I think that's really it for planning commission updates. Happy to answer any questions on that.
Any questions? All right, thank you. Moving on to business before the board. We have application SW 23-283-FDP GA 27200 West 157th Street. I assume we have a presentation from staff.
Good evening, Michelle Leiniger, planning staff. This application is for a revised final development plan for the Amazon facility. You actually saw a proposal last year, which is greatly different from this proposal. The one last year included parking lot changes, additions, streets, connections, all of that stuff. That application, 2 applications, preliminary and final development plan, those were withdrawn. This application is for minimal changes. And as you can see in the vicinity map, the project is north and west of the New Century runway and north of 159th Street and east of Moonlight. So the changes proposed are on the west side of the building. There have been some interior changes to the building to allow for some different services. And due to those changes, water capacity for fire suppression needed to be increased. So here on your screen, which is at the bottom southwest corner of the western parking lot, there's addition of a pump house, which is approximately 20 by 20. And then a water tank, which is about 30 feet tall, 40 feet in diameter. You can see the elevations on the right. The pump house is a brick building. Water tank is a water tank. They're also proposing 8 evergreen trees on the south side of the water tank and pump house. These are to screen those additional structures from what would be if the road is extended across the site. Additionally, there's existing berm and trees to the west on the west side of the property. So that will help screening from the west side. The facilities are approximately 200 feet from the southern or front property line, and then about 270 feet from the west property line. So that screening should really help hide that. And this, you have to, I turned it so that it would fit better. Again, this is the west side of the building. North is to your left. You can see the pump house and tank facility at the bottom right of your screen, along with the screening. So this area was originally used for loading docks for trucks. Amazon has made changes to the site as far as adding some fencing in order to keep employee vehicles separate from the large trucks. So what they have done here at the far left of the screen, they've added a fence and then restriped this area for vehicular parking. And so that's an addition of 184 vehicle stalls. As you can see, there's ADA parking, there's some walking aisles, there's sufficient space for fire trucks to maneuver between the parking lanes. And so this is really just a transition of an area from the loading dock to parking. And this was anticipated on the original development plan for this area. To note on this, there is no increase in impervious surface with these changes. The pump house and the tank will sit on existing pavement where there was parking. They'll add a curb around it so people don't hit it typically, and to kind of funnel traffic around that. But otherwise, there's no change in impervious surface on the site. Staff does recommend approval of the revised development plan for Amazon based on the findings and with stipulations identified in the staff report. And here's a suggested motion, and I can answer any questions.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for staff about this proposal? Okay. Do we have an applicant that wants to make a presentation or agree with staff or?
We have one on Zoom and one here, so.
Okay, that would be fine.
Aiden is
Whichever one.
engineer, Patrick online is technically that. So whichever you'd like to do.
Yeah, if you just state your name and your address for the record.
Aiden O'Keefe, I'm an engineer with Olson on this project.
Either one is fine.
Okay,
A business address.
I am working out of Olson in Overland Park off of 135th and Metcalf. I don't have anything additional to add. Michelle did a great job with the staff report and with the presentation. The only items that I did want to correct was in the report, there was mention of interior construction and demo to the existing overhead doors. There will be no demo of that. They will just be pinned and not used. So there will be no actual demo or construction on or in the building for this phase of the project, except for demoing the existing fire protection tap and what will be replaced with the new fire protection tap. And then as well as around the water tank and pump house, we will not have a full height curb, but we will have striping to direct traffic around, and we will have bollards surrounding the facilities to avoid anyone hitting them or anything like that. So there will be no full height curb, but those are the only two corrections that I had to make. And
Okay.
if there's anything that Patrick online wanted to say.
No, I'm good here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Patrick, can you state your name?
Oh,
and-
yeah, sorry. Yes,
You are?
Patrick Gaither, the architect for the NCI 7 project.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have questions for the applicant or staff or?
Rebecca Barton, I do have a question about, you're not going to have a curb, you're going to have what in its place?
Those will be bollards, the steel bollards that will go into the ground. So what you would see out in front of a grocery store or any facility that would impede a car from hitting anything behind it, which in this case would be the pump house and the storage tank.
I was gonna say, Jason Cooper, yeah, most of the time, aren't they, they're steel filled with concrete or something like that to prevent.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have questions? All right. Well, if there aren't any questions, I would entertain a motion. Yeah, go ahead.
Rebecca Barton, I do have one question for staff. We will update the report when we send it on for the changes that you mentioned.
Yes, I'll make.
Thank you.
And Mr.
Mr.
Chair,
Chair,
will we,
Yes.
the public hearing?
Yeah, we want to, I was going to suggest, it would be good just to check though, to see if anyone from the public was on.
Oh,
Zoom,
yes,
just to-
absolutely. Do we have
yeah,
anybody
even though it's
on
not a
Zoom,
public hearing,
public, any of the public needs to make comment?
There are no additional attendees on Zoom.
Okay, thank you. Didn't see any, so I guess I made an assumption. All right, then, like I said before, if we don't have any other questions, entertain a motion.
Rebecca Barton, I move to recommend an approval of revised final development plan for Amazon MC 17 on the subject property located at 27-200 West 157th Street with the stipulations and for the reasons outlined in the staff report.
All right, do I have a second?
John DeGrand, second.
All right. All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes. Mr. Penley, when will that go before the board?
I have the date. Maybe just ask Michelle, she's got it.
I thought we said.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, we would anticipate this is scheduled for the next, the BOCC meeting date. This case would be scheduled for would be June 22nd. Oh, excuse me, no, May 25th, sorry. May 25th, 9 a.m. And 9:30 a.m. in this meeting room, board hearing room, 111 South Cherry Street. That's when it's anticipated to be scheduled for Board of County Commissioners. Please check the board schedule for any updates, but that would be the date, and that's the date will inform the applicant to be scheduled. So we'll assume that's the date for Board of Hearing.
All right, thank you. Okay, do we have any other business?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I just mentioned,
Go ahead, Mr. Penley.
the next regularly scheduled meeting for this zoning board will be May 24th. We do have, I think, at least one application, maybe two. So we're planning on having a meeting. Nothing else to report at this time.
I had a question about the bylaws and the legal department.
Yeah,
That's
given
obviously
that-
been
Yeah,
on the back burner for a bit.
right. I should have given that update. So the bylaws all the bylaws for all of the zoning boards have been recommended for approval by all the zoning boards. We are now waiting to bring those forward to the Board of County Commissioners together at one meeting. We're preparing those now. We anticipate those will be presented beginning of May to the Board of County Commissioners. We anticipate they'll be considered together with zoning boards and planning commission bylaws all together at one board meeting.
Okay.
So once the Board of County Commissioners considers those, they'll be officially adopted. So it should be early May. And so
Sean.
we'll provide an update.
I think Jay had mentioned May 11th or May 18th.
May 11th
Okay,
or
'cause we
18th.
didn't, I don't think did we go through a formal adoption of that last meeting?
But the zoning board did provide a recommendation to approve the bylaws. And so now we're waiting to get adoption
Okay.
out of the OCC.
I didn't, I
I don't
remember.
recall the date that we had for this board. I didn't think it was I think this board approved them in March, at the March meeting, I believe.
I can
Well,
find
we
out.
did not. We pushed it back and
I can find out. I have
this,
very detailed notes.
you know,
Just a moment.
what's her name? Trent. Is gonna come to the following meeting with updated bylaws. She was, you know, there were corrections. There were a whole bunch of corrections to make.
We.
Okay,
And we
Do
had
you
a
want me to read my
draft.
notes that I have?
I just don't think we
You
ever
have your
voted on it.
notes?
yes. So it first went in front of the Southwest Zoning Board at the January 25th meeting. Go through here.
It had been February.
Pegs sent our staff a revised version on February 27th.
We
Um,
Approve it in March.
it was on the agenda for the March 22nd meeting. And that was sent out in the meeting packet, March 15th. Peg Trent was absent for the March 22nd Southwest
Yeah,
Zoning Board
we
meeting,
did.
but Jay reviewed the latest version of the bylaws.
Yes, it's in the notes. It's in the meeting, it's in the meeting minutes. from last
Great.
month.
At the last meeting, there was
Okay,
a
I'm mistaken.
very short report. We did
Thank
not
you.
have Peg Trent at the last meeting. So what we did
Yes.
was we gave a quick overview of those changes that were made.
That's right. Okay,
Yeah, that was it.
couldn't remember. Okay, thank you. Easy enough. Okay, at this point, if we don't have any other business, then I would accept a motion to adjourn.
John DeGrand, I move to adjourn.
Rebecca Barton, I'll second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. We are adjourned.